All right, we're back talking college basketball on Proline TV. We're on. We're kind of in the middle of one of the craziest weeks in college basketball for the season. It's conference tournament week action. The end of the regular seasons for other conferences. Conference tournament starting next week. Conference championships will be actually underway tomorrow on Sunday. That's the first one. And we're going to preview that one right here on this show, including some key games tomorrow in college basketball. And we're going to update you on what's going on with some of these college basketball tournaments, as well as preview 3 more college basketball tournaments that will be getting underway very shortly. Jim Feist, of course, joining us once again. Jim, it's a really, really crazy time of year to be handicapping college basketball.
I'll tell you what. This was easier 60 years ago when I started this business. You know why? Because we didn't know all this stuff. Now it's all right. I mean,
too much information.
I literally got 4 screens every screen is different, and I've got information on every screen. And then on top of that, I have my iPhone, and then I got my Samsung phone. So I've got all this stuff coming in at once. I'm too old for this.
It's a lot of information.
You know what it does? It keeps you young.
Oh, that's for sure.
No
question about it. Yeah. So with all of this information, you've already tipped me off to probably the best advice or the best trend going on right now with these college basketball regular seasons coming to an end. And that happens to be something called senior night.
Okay, but let me add to that. Here's the situation. Like for example, I'm going to give you an example. There's a rumor that Bill Self is going to retire. Now, we don't know if that's true or not. But the kids hear that. Their kids on that team hear that. Now we have the NIL, the NIL, and we have the portals. So all of these kids are saying, well, I came here to play for Bill Self, and if he leaves, who am I going to be playing for? Maybe I need to look for another place to go. In the old days, you couldn't do that. Now you can do that. So not on top of, now you have senior night, which you brought up and we talked about earlier, where the senior nights, the teams at home are getting killed because it's an emotional night. This is my last college basketball game ever in my life. Now I've got to look for, what am I going to do next in my life? Where am I going? I'm senior, I'm graduating, and now I got to find a job. The feds, the federal governments are laying everybody off. Other people,
but we haven't heard it this crazy before.
It's just nuts. There's a lot of things we have to look at as sports bettors, sports handicappers. A lot of people don't do this for a living like I do or you do. I mean, this is just recreational, but think about all the ramifications of all the things that are going on out there. So senior night and most of the celebrations are before the games, which I'm not really in favor of because it's very emotional. Those families are there. This is my last game. So now they got to go out and play a game. So the away team is not involved in all that. They got a big advantage because the emotional expenditure on the home team is great. And they're getting killed. So that's a tip.
But now, I wonder why this year. I wonder why it's so...
I think there's more things going on in the kids' mind. Before this year, kids couldn't say, well, I'm going to transfer to that school or that school. A lot of times these kids are making decisions, like what's his name? Flag is getting... Who was the college kid for? I can't remember.
Cooper Flag.
$10 million to come back and play is another year. I mean, think about that.
We hope so.
Years ago, they'd give you a year's subscription to Top Ramen so you could eat. Wow. Now they're giving them $10 million. I mean, these young 18, 19, 20-year-old guys are now, and families are making decisions that are life-changing that they never had options to before. So there's a lot going on. I mean, reality-wise, this is big stuff. It's big stuff. A lot of these families don't have money. The only time they're going to have any money is when these kids get big contracts. And now your college kid is getting offered $10 million to play another year in college. Okay, well, he'd probably get 50 million if he goes to the pros. So
That is true.
It's a very strange time, not only in what's going on in the government because of all the changes, not in the sports world. I mean, really, get back and think about it. It's just not all about what we're looking at. St. John's against Marquette. That's insignificant to the kids themselves and their lives and the changes and the decisions they have to make. We have to take all that into consideration before we make a play.
Well, there are several of those games.
Like last night, the other night I lost. Fort Wayne for 12,000. So I lost 12,000 on that game. Now, tonight I have one game. I'm being a little bit conservative, especially with these lower end schools, because there's so much going on that
you can't be at this point with the number you said. Did you 5-30?
Oh, yeah. Well, I might have exaggerated. It might be 8-30, something like that.
Still, I don't care if it's 10-30.
It's
the
bad.
Fact is, if it's that much of a disparity, then if you have just two teams that are playing for nothing and it's senior night, then why wouldn't you just take the road team?
Well, that's basically what you have to do now.
Yeah. So that's what,
I wasn't totally aware of how bad it was until last night.
Okay. Well,
then there was this guy that posted these records and I said, "Oh my God, are you kidding me?"
I wonder, what I'd like to see is if they were able to show me like which ones were in situations, like for instance, Georgia is playing Vanderbilt. Okay. So they're at home and they're a 3.5 point favorite or something like that, but they are desperate for a win. They've got to get a win to keep their bubble hopes alive. Vandy's in. Georgia needs a win, but they're the home team on senior night. So the question then is, how do you differentiate?
Okay, now how many of the starters or the top 7 players are seniors?
Okay,
that's another issue that comes.
That's another thing.
How about it? I mean, if your top five guys are seniors and they're really not qualified to go to the pros, this is the biggest night of their life.
Well, shouldn't that though? All right, that's what I'm trying to say. So like the St. John's Marquette one, completely different. Game means nothing. Take St. John's. But in this situation, and again, I have no idea. I know their top players are freshmen, but let's just say that they have, I'm just going to just use this as an example. Let's say Georgia had 4 seniors. Their top 4 scorers were seniors. Then even though it's senior night, you would think, well, first of all, it's their last game. They know this. And they also know, well, this is also our last chance to get a big win so we can go to the tournament. So you would think that they're going to bring all of that. The thing that we always look for as handicappers, we want to back a team that we know is going to fight for the game with everything they have. That's not an easy thing to find. And we're going to have that with Georgia against Vanderbilt. So that would be a situation, again, if Georgia has 4 seniors in that situation. So that's why every situation definitely has to be different. But this gives everybody out there an opportunity to do your own research and come up with your own kind of.
Well, people in different locales that have teams in their areas, they can find this information out a lot easier. If you're analyzing 300 teams like we are, it's a lot harder because, I mean, it's hard to keep up with it all. But this is passing on good information to people. You got to be aware of this. Now, for example, if Marquette needed this game to get into the tournament,
which they don't.
St. John's has nothing to play for.
Yeah,
they're in. They won the Big East. Tino's going to get. They're going.
Mm-hmm.
Marquette's going to go too.
Yeah.
However, you say, okay, Marquette's a 2.5 point home favorite, but if neither team has anything to play for,
then it's senior night.
And it's senior night.
Well, let me take a look at.
But that doesn't mean St. John's is going to come with any emotion either, because they've already did it.
But you know,
this is what I'm talking about.
But again, that's that's the one where, again, if you're going to talk about going against senior night games, it would have to be in situations for sure where neither team is playing for anything, because at least you know that one, because again, if one of those teams was playing for something, like I was just saying, let's say that Georgia was playing for something, which they are. And by the way, Georgia's top 3 players are not seniors. Their top 3 scorers.
Well, Georgia's at home.
Yeah, their top 3. Georgia's top 3 scorers are freshmen and 2 sophomores.
And
now they do have 2 seniors out of their 5 in their top scorer rotation, but only 2. The rest of the team are underclassmen. They only have 2 seniors on their entire team, Georgia. So maybe, if anything, that could be a good thing, because there's a limited amount of seniors. Georgia has to win the basketball game, and Vanderbilt doesn't. So if you're going to take a team on senior night at home, and maybe this is the one to take.
Well, yeah, that's it. You have 2 different ways of looking at it. That would either, Georgia needs a game. They're going to be amped up for that. You probably play Georgia based on that, because the other team is already in, and not every, so every game's going to have to be looked at. But overall, in general, senior night teams, because they celebrate before the game, the emotional expenditure of being your last game, and the families there, and the tears, and this is my last game in college. Now I have to move on. I have to become a real adult and go out in the world, get a job, And then the other thing is, okay, this team's going to fall apart. Now I'm a good player. Maybe I can find another school to go to if I'm not a senior.
That could have a lot to do with it this year.
It's a very complicated, and I'm not trying to poo-poo bet sports. It gives you opportunities if you can dig down deep and find information. But there's a lot more to consider these days because of all of that.
Marquette's top 3 scorers are seniors.
Okay. This is
their top scorer,
home game.
Cameron Jones, is actually one of the best basketball players in the game.
And is he a senior?
He's a senior. All 3 top seniors.
Top 3. If he's not looking at a pro career, this is his last.
Oh no, Cameron Jones, he'll be a pro. Yeah.
Okay, then he's not worried about it. Because, he's going to not be a college student.
But he'll be distracted by senior night. His mom will be on the court. The coach will be there with flowers. They'll walk them down. They'll get kissed. They'll get hugs. You know how it goes. It's the whole thing.
He's going to graduate and move on, but his girlfriend's a freshman. She's going to stay there.
Yeah, well.
Okay, you have all that to deal with too.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start off, first of all, by going over these games on Saturday. We just already mentioned a couple, but the one that I really like is one of the early ones at 12 o'clock. And this is a very important game. And we talked about this on Monday's show when I said, I really don't want to go against Vandy. They've been so good to me the last few games as a dog, but I just got to do it because now the favorite against Arkansas, it's a big number. Arkansas fresh off their worst game of the year against South Carolina, even though they have been tough all season, even in defeat, but it's only one game. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and take Arkansas. I'm going to do what I normally don't do. And they came through because you could tell Vandy, after the huge win against Missouri, that cemented their tournament deal. And by the way, it was senior night for Vandy. And Arkansas went in there and beat them easy. And now Arkansas is home on senior night. But the key thing is it's only about a 1-point favorite at the most. You've said there are some that say pick them.
Yeah, I'm looking at 5 lines, and they're either pick or one home teams. Arkansas, what the hell happened to Arkansas when they went to South Carolina?
Well, they had the one game. Yeah, the one game.
Yeah, but they got destroyed.
They came right back, and that's fine. They came right back and upset Vandy and right back on the ship. So let's see, they've got only one senior in their rotation, their scoring rotation. So that's not bad. Johnell Davis is the only senior in that because their top scorer is a junior. Anyway, the bottom line is Mississippi State just 1-3 in their last 4, and they are a tournament team. Arkansas 3-1 in their last 4, covered 8 out of the last 10, and they are squarely on the bubble. So I really like Arkansas on this spot. I know it's senior night, but at least there's only one of them. Nothing?
You like them a lot more than the odds makers do.
Yes. Yeah, I think they're a tournament team. I think they're just way too talented to not make the tournament, and that means they got to get another win. They cannot lose this game. They just can't. You lose this game, they're going to have to win at least 2 SEC tournament games. If they win this game, I believe the next time you look at bracketology, I think they'll be in. So, but they're right there. They're on the bubble.
Well, tell me about the other side of the game, Mississippi State.
They're in. They have no problem. Nothing to worry about. So they're in. So
well, basically, one's in, one's not sure. Okay, so that's okay. I understand your thinking.
Yeah,
I can buy that. Let's look at the Alabama-Auburn game.
Oh, that's a good one. That's another key one in the SEC.
I love it. This is perfect. You got a team that's a number 1 rated team. Might get they're very likely to be a number 1 seed. I mean, they should. How could you not make them a number 1 seed?
If they lose on Saturday,
I still think they're a number 1 seed.
I think so too. But again, there is you're right, because they're in the SEC regular season champs. It's going to be hard not to put them in as a number 1 seed.
I mean, they've destroyed people all year long. How can you not make them a number 1 seed?
Well, they just lost. So let's just say they lose this game and then lose the first SEC tournament game and go in a 3-game losing streak into the tournament.
This is where Alabama lost the other night to Florida at home. But Florida is a great team. I love Florida. I really like them a lot.
Ah, yes. So see, you're like my Florida team now. I love it.
Now Auburn's 7.5, 8-point favorite in this game? Give me a break.
Yeah, they won by 9 as a 2-point dog last month at Alabama.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked if Alabama won this game straight up.
And you know what? It's senior night, and there are 6 of the top 7 scorers for Auburn are seniors.
For me, this is a slam dunk Alabama play.
I agree. Now that we've got this little senior night thing right there, you've got a bunch of seniors.
Even if you didn't have that in your equation.
Yeah, I mean, this is not really. Yeah, this is.
I mean, Alabama's one of the top scoring teams in the nation, if not the top.
The problem with Alabama has been that they just aren't. They're playing their worst basketball of the season. That's the problem.
They don't play defense either. I mean, that's another.
They're 2-4 in their last 6, but they've covered 3 out of 4.
How about this? I've read some quotes from some coaches, specifically in the SEC, but I won't mention their names. They're thinking that maybe it's best if we don't play too hard early and get knocked out early, so we save our legs for the big dance.
No. You want to know why that? I know that's not something to think about, because
they're saying it.
No, I'm just saying that's a stupid way of thinking if that's what they're thinking, because one of the trends that we're going to talk about on our college basketball tournament preview special, which is coming up in whatever week and a half, I noticed that if there is a trend that says, let me get it here, no championship team has ever, no team has ever won the championship, national championship, after losing their first conference tournament game. So how about those bananas? So again, if you lose your first, if you play that game and go, we're just going to rest our guys and we don't really care if we lose that first tournament game and we'll get rest. Well, you know what? If you do that and you win the national championship, you'll be the first to ever do it. So not a good way to go into the tournament thinking about doing that. But I think look, that's just about, especially these teams, like they get double buys anyway. So they don't, it's not like they have to play like 5 games in 5 nights or 4 games in 4 nights, like some of these other teams.
True. Duke
Okay.
Duke is a 10-point favorite at North Carolina.
Now, in that game, we talked about the first matchup, and North Carolina had been really good in that spot. It didn't matter. Duke destroyed North Carolina. But all of a sudden,
they're a lot better. North
yes,
Carolina all of a sudden starting to play good.
yeah, they've won 6 straight. They've covered 5 straight, and they're getting a big number, like you just said.
Yeah.
And in that situation, I would definitely go back to North Carolina in this spot.
Now, senior night.
Yeah, let me see about
What's
that.
the story about that? Because they are home.
And I know their best player is a senior. Okay, so RJ Davis, who feels like he's been there for 20 years, he's the only senior in the top 6 scorers. So that's good.
Okay.
So RJ Davis, the best player on the team, is the only guy. So that's good. So I still feel good about North Carolina anyway. It's a rivalry. Dogs like North Carolina have won and beaten Duke before. Matter of fact, North Carolina has won 6 out of the last 10 against Duke.
I mean, they have no reason to want to go out there and plus, you know, the top player in the top player in the country did get a little bit of an eye injury.
Oh, flag, yeah.
Yep. So I mean, that would make some sense to try to not get him further damaged.
You know, wouldn't you think that now that it's just everything's changed in college basketball, and I'm assuming that this rivalry is, since it's gone back around for 50 years, whatever. I would guess that this is always the way it's been. They'll play as late as possible into the season. They'll play the last regular season weekend. I think they should change that, because you're in a situation when you play these last regular season games where they just don't matter, except for the rivalry. I just think it would be better if these two teams played a little bit earlier in the regular season.
They do
so
this,
the game mattered more.
They do this to jack up ratings because this is March Madness. Everything now is basketball. It's before baseball season. It's after football season. It's before the NBA playoffs. March Madness is all about college. You're talking about getting the biggest ratings. And I'm going to tell you something. People don't know this. Vegas brings in more people for this month than any other time. I mean, they fill these hotels and these sports books. The Super Bowl is meaningless compared to what happened.
Oh, yeah. One day.
This is monster. To get a room here is a nightmare. To get a place to watch the game is a nightmare because you can't find a seat. So what they do is they open up the convention centers and put televisions in there for people to sit, because you can't get a seat in the sports books. So that's how big it is.
My point being, though, is that, like, as a college basketball fan, if I had a choice, I would still rather, I'd be more interested in the games that, again, hey, you know what, there's a game on and if the team is a bubble team, they have to win, as opposed to, or, hey, that's a championship game or a semifinal game in a tournament. That means something. As North Carolina, Duke, it's a rivalry, but it doesn't mean anything at this time of year. It just doesn't. I mean, and I prefer the first game last month. I like that in February because it means more. It's still during the season. There's just so much that happens here in the last weekend of the season. It just doesn't matter.
I have friends that come in from all over the country, but this one group comes from Fresno, California, and they got friends that they went to school together, and they come from all over. There's 7 of them. They live all over. One actually lives in Israel, and which isn't the safest place to live right now. But but they come here and they're literally bet every day. They're betting all the games. They got every game on the card. They have money on $20, $10, whatever it is, and it's like binge hoops. It's crazy.
It's like that game. What is that game called when you have all those cards? Not bingo, but what's that other game where they always have all those cards around?
Parlay cards.
What is that called?
Parlay cards.
Uh, no. I was thinking like bingo though, where you
Oh,
know it's like you got so many different cards on your table. I know there's another name for it. I don't know what it is, but bingo is a good example. Just what
there's
you're
a game
saying.
we could talk about. Ohio State and Iowa. These two games.
What's
Or
the line on the game?
Indiana, excuse me. That game that's a big game for both those teams.
Yeah, I didn't have a line on it.
I'm going to look for it right if I can find it. It's hard. It's hard without these numbers. If I don't have the numbers,
Well, the thing is because I looked for it before we went on the air. I don't know why. There's no injuries. I don't know why it was taking so long for them to get the line for the game. But here it is. Indiana's a favorite. Indiana's favored by 1.5.
That's what it is right now. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that respect, I like Indiana.
They're playing well.
Yeah.
They got the coach that's quitting, and ever since he announces leaving, they just started playing great.
Yeah, they feel good now. Oh, good, he's leaving. Yeah, but Ohio State had a monster win the other night against Nebraska. Those are two bubble teams, and the loser would be in big trouble, and that's Nebraska, because that was an overtime game. Ohio State beating Nebraska in some crazy NBA score, like 116, 114 or something like that.
Indiana has 18 wins, Ohio State 17.
Yeah, that's still tight between the two, but Indiana's playing better.
Yeah, but Indiana, I'll give you the numbers that I come up with. The last 8 games, Ohio State's got an 82.9 rating, Indiana an 89.2 rating, and that carries over to, if you just isolate it to the last 4 games, it's even a little bit better. Indiana's the right side of this game.
Yeah, and in the series, Indiana has won 4 straight, and 3 of them they were actually on the dog side. They beat Ohio State on the 17th of January as an 8-point dog in overtime. I want to double check that. I was surprised they were an 8-point dog. Let me make sure this wasn't last year's game I was looking at. Let me see here.
That's, dogs overtime.
No, they were an 8-point dog at Ohio State on January 17th when Indiana upset Ohio State in overtime. Yeah, I'm surprised. I don't know why there was such a dog. Anyway, Indiana is now the 1.5-point favorite, and I think they're the good play.
Right now, we've got 3 plays: Alabama, North Carolina, Indiana. We're rocking.
Oh, Arkansas. I like Arkansas.
Yeah, I lean there, but I'm not there. Yeah, I agree with you, but I have to do a little digging on that one.
All right.
I'm not sold.
Oklahoma, Texas is another big one.
Yeah, these teams are really shaky, man. I don't know.
13th in the standings against 14th in the standings.
These guys are so shaky. Oh my God!
That's what happens when you get these Big 12 teams going to the SEC.
Texas has covered 1 out of the last 8 games they played. 1.
Yeah,
and
they've only won 2 out of those games.
They just did. They have been playing horrible.
But Oklahoma has definitely been playing better lately. They're 2-2 straight up, 4-0 against the spread in the last 4, coming off an upset win against Missouri on Wednesday.
That was a big win.
Texas did snap their little run, their losing run, with an upset win against Mississippi State on Tuesday. That was on the road. They beat the Bulldogs in overtime. So you do wonder if that will get them going. They've won 8 straight against Oklahoma, including a 4-point win on January 15th as a 2-point road dog. But it's a 5.5-point spread. That's the thing that has me going with Oklahoma.
Well, I can't lay that kind of number.
I even think that's not a bad money line play.
Who do you like?
Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yeah. I think they're the better team anyway. I think if you had to ask me which
ratings, the current ratings say they are a better team. Yes.
Yeah. So I think if now that this is their chance, because if they get swept by Texas and they're both bubble teams, that's bad news for Oklahoma. So, but both teams are desperate for the game. So that doesn't mean anything. It's just that Oklahoma, I think, will really, I think that puts Oklahoma probably on the inside and Texas in big, big trouble. So, and then you have a game.
I can't believe the number's that high.
I know.
That's wow.
And then let's see. I think that's it for the games, the meaningful games. There are other games on the schedule. Like I have several picks that I'm going to do, and now of course you've scared me on senior night, so I have to see if my Xavier Musketeers is senior night, so I have to go check and find out how many seniors they have.
I was just passing on information.
No, I know you had to do it. Let's see. I can take it. Let's see. Seniors for Xavier. You see, this may not be good for senior night, but it sure will be good for the tournament. Xavier's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Out of their top 11 players, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them are seniors.
No, that's a tough.
That's a lot of senior night kisses.
Yeah, hugs, kisses, crying,
and that's a lot of points that they're giving up. They're a 10-point home favorite. They've won 6 straight. They've covered 5 out of 6. And Providence, see, the reason I like this game is because Providence has given up on the season. They're 1-8 in their last 9. They just came off a home loss on senior night to DePaul. And they've also dropped 4 straight covers.
You might be right. They just quit.
Yeah, so I'm taking Xavier anyway, but it's not going to be a major play. I'm just going to keep riding Xavier until they lose and are knocked out of the tournament because they're going to be one of my future plays on the show today. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. I also like, the other one I was interested in is Kansas. Kansas, again, I have to check. They're definitely going to have some guys on senior night because they're a 2-point favorite at home against Arizona. Actually, Arizona is not playing great.
Actually, it's 3. And it's 3 leaning to 3.5.
Okay. So
they're getting money.
Kansas, their top 4 scorers. Is this? No, that's not the thing. I need their. Why do they have the roster? Oh, here it is. Okay, it's weird. Why are they doing it this way?
This is one where they might play hard for the coach.
So you're hearing?
Well, there's strong rumors he's quitting.
Their top 4 scorers are seniors, Kansas. But if that's the case, then that's definitely inspiring because that would be his last home game.
Yeah, it would.
Let's see what it says.
I mean, they played a pretty good game the other night against Houston.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think, even though they've lost the last 2, they were very competitive against Houston and Texas Tech.
And they're 2 very, very good teams. Very good.
Yeah, I don't see anything here about Bill Self.
There's a lot of rumors about him quitting.
Okay. But yeah, I kind of think because Arizona's lost.
Well, what you have is when you have a lot of these older coaches like Larrañaga, they got tired of they're not getting any loyalty from the players because they're moving on. And how many seniors on Kansas is starting?
Their top 4 scorers are seniors.
Okay, so you're going to have. Well, they're leaving anyway. So basically, Self is going to have to rebuild with a whole new crew.
Maybe that's part of it. He just doesn't want to deal with all this stuff anymore.
Well, you think, a lot of these
Good
guys
for him.
It's a struggle. It's hard.
It is. It's not easy, especially when you're at that age and you have a national championship and you have more money that you need. Just go into broadcasting. You don't need the aggravation. You're not searching for a national championship. You already got one.
Yeah, it depends on how much they love what they're doing,
Arizona only 3-4 straight up, 2-5 against the spread in their last 7. So that's another reason why I like Kansas. And I also like Florida. They're an 11-point favorite at home against Ole Miss. They've won 8 out of 9 straight up and against the spread The last road game for Ole Miss was against Auburn. They lost that one by 30. They had a key win their last game, Ole Miss did. And I think that's one of those kind of wins that, they get it out of their system and they're done already for the SEC tournament.
What's the senior situation on Florida?
The Florida Gators. Let's see what we got here.
The blowout, you're asking them to blow out the other side here. That's what you got to do here.
Their top 3 are seniors. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking about that. That I could see that being a blowout, which is why I like it. But it is senior night.
Yeah, it takes off. You know it's going to take something away from them.
Yeah, and that's the one that out of the 3 that I'm going to take out, which means I'll probably win that. I would have won that one, and I'll lose the other 2. So I'm going to hold on to Kansas and Xavier on senior night. I'll eliminate Florida. And as far as our picks, because we still have conference tournaments to get into before we wrap up, let's just go through the games and make sure we've got the right picks. Let's see. I'm taking Arkansas. What about you?
I'm still passing on that.
Okay. We're both taking Alabama +8. We're both taking Indiana. Is that true?
Correct.
-1. And we are both taking North Carolina +11.
Correct.
Oh, that's right. How about Oklahoma? I've got Oklahoma +6. Do you?
I'm not on that yet. Okay. I may end up with it, but I haven't worked yet enough.
All right.
Both Texas and Oklahoma are very, very volatile. You really don't know what you're going to get out of them.
Okay, so let me go into my futures. And this week, I'm adding several more futures. I'm going to be adding Michigan State at 25-1 because I do think that if they go out and win the Big Ten championship, that those odds could get into the teens.
I like that play. It's a good play at that price for sure. And if some of the SEC teams fall and beat each other up, Michigan State could end up with a 1 seed.
That's interesting. And then I'm taking 3 long shots. I'm taking BYU at 70-1. They're just playing lights out.
They are.
They might be the hottest. They are the hottest team right now in the Big 12. I'm also going to take St. Mary's at 80-1. I just think they might finally have the type of scorers, the type of really good scorers, including what's his name, that Russian's kid that can play with the big boys. And that was always a problem. They were always a defensive team, and then you get to the tournament, and they don't have any offensive firepower. But now they do, and I think they still got a good defense, really good defense, and a really good rebounding team. And then the mega long shot is Xavier. I'm taking Xavier at 300-1.
One of the top, when you look at Ken Palm and all this stuff, one team that's rated really high. It's because they win so. When they win big, and when they lose small. It's Gonzaga.
Yeah.
They are so difficult to figure out. They can kill you, and then they'll get in a game and they'll lose by 2 or 4 points. They don't get blown out. The bracket is going to really be important to picking them because you got to find out who they're going to be matched up with for sure. And then I got to ask about Illinois. Yep. Well, we've been talking about it. They're a very talented team. My God, when they get it together, they smoke. Because remember when they were playing Duke and they were a big dog, the fact was that they had injuries. They had like 3 of their top guys who were banged up and ill, but now everybody's coming back. So yeah, Illinois is definitely a team to keep. I don't know if they can win a national championship, but I think they could do damage in the tournament. This is definitely the best time of year. So then I don't need any sleep because I'm so excited for every day, all this stuff that goes on. They try to figure it all out and everything. Well, let's preview the ASUN championship game on Sunday.
You've got 1 versus 2. You have Lipscomb against North Alabama. North Alabama beat 4 seed Jacksonville by 15 in the semis. Lipscomb had to beat Queens, the 6th seed, in overtime to get to the championship game.
Well, Lipscomb was big favorite, and Queens is pretty damn good at that. I mean, at that level of basketball.
Yeah.
I picked Lipscomb to win this tournament before it started. I got to stick with them. I laid 165 money line price on Lipscomb to win it. I'm still there.
Well, do we have? It's too early for a line.
Yeah, I don't see one.
What's that?
I didn't see a line.
Yeah, it's too early for a line. So unless you see one, because again, you want to make sure you subscribe, because this way you'll be able to check out all of the videos, including the shorts. Jim's going to be doing a lot of shorts. He's got a 2 shorts tomorrow. And maybe it's up to you, obviously, if you see a line on the game, if you want to throw that in there. But we're all going to be on the air actually on Sunday. So early, so we might even we'll have a line that we might be able to comment on this game on Sunday.
If I see a line and first of all, I bet Lipscomb to win it, so I'm on their side. Whether the line is playable as a game, I don't know because I don't see it. But if it is playable, I will suggest that it's playable in the short.
Yeah, these two teams are very evenly matched. If you look at it, they both have like a superstar for their conference. North Alabama has this kid, Jakari Lane. He's won 2 state championships. He's like a big dude, in the state for like that kind of level. So they've got one of those guys. Lipscomb has this kid, Ogunashevich, who is almost a double-double. And they split the season series. Both teams won at home by double digits. And both teams are coming into this game with 10 wins in their last 11. And it's 1 seed against the 2 seed. And that was actually the way most people thought it would be in the preseason, the 2 top teams. So everything is going into this game. But I agree with you, because the one edge Lipscomb has is they're at home. They got the home game. So that should have a meaning. Because even at this low levels, the gym's going to be packed. They're going to be going to the big dance.
What did they do against each other during the season?
Well, as I said, they split, and both home teams won by double digits.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. It's very evenly matched, these two
What
teams.
were the lines in those games?
Oh, I don't have the lines in them. Because the thing didn't pop up on, because the line isn't out yet.
Okay.
So all I saw was the score.
Oh, they don't give the lines on. Okay.
Yeah, when I was looking at it on the sports reference page.
Oh, they don't have lines, right?
No. Okay, so that's again, don't forget, that's going to be at 1:00 on Sunday. Quickly, before we preview the
1:00 your time?
That's right, 1:00 Eastern. So that'll be that'll be late enough that when we do our show, which will be earlier on Sunday before 1:00 Eastern, we'll have a take. We might even do the show live.
If I can do a short on that, I'll do it Saturday night.
Okay.
Because if I there'll be a number by then. Yes, I don't think a problem.
And then just to kind of get updated on the tournaments that we've already talked about. In the America East, I know that's right. These are the ones coming up. Where's the ones that we've already talked about? I got so much crap here. Here they are. We've got the Horizon. Now they're in the semis, and Robert Morris is. Oh, by the way, my Oakland long shot just beat Milwaukee. That was a big win. They beat Milwaukee on the road.
Oakland has a great coach.
That Knapp. Great.
Yeah, he's been Nappy, but he's been there like 40 years. I mean,
that's the whole reason why they were a good long shot.
He knows
only because of him.
That guy knows what he's doing.
So Robert Morris, the number 1 seed, is going to play Oakland, and the 2 seed Cleveland State will play the 4 seed Youngstown State. The Patriot. You've got Bucknell survived Loyola, the 8th seed, in overtime. and they're going to be at home taking on 5th seed Navy, who upset my long shot play BU. Then you have American, the 2 seed, survived 7 seed Lafayette by 2 points. And get this man's top pick, Jim's top pick in the Patriot, Colgate, the 3 seed, blew out Army, the 6 seed. So the 2 top seeds both struggled to get to the semis. Colgate blew out Army. And there you go.
Colgate's going to win it.
Colgate's looking like the team. So keep an eye on that. The semis are on, I believe it's on Sunday. I forget when their championship game is. Where's the Patriot championship game? Let's see. Patriot championship. Is it on Sunday, the Patriot? I don't know. It's in here somewhere. Oh, that's right. It's on Wednesday. So the Patriot semis are on Sunday. The championship game is on Wednesday. And the Horizon semis I just talked about is on Monday. And the Horizon championship game is on Tuesday. And the other one is the OVC. Your upset pick in this one, I believe they are the 3rd or 4th choice, Tennessee State. They're a 3-point dog against SIU Edwardsville. And that is, let's see, that's a 10:30 start. I think that might be tonight. Number 1 seed takes on the number 4 seed, but Tennessee State's getting 3 points in that game. And then the WCC, my upset pick, even though I picked Gonzaga to win it, but I had an upset play in Santa Clara. Unfortunately, I was hoping that they wouldn't have to beat both Gonzaga and St. Mary's. And it looks like that's what's going to have to happen, because San Francisco ended up as the 3 seed, which means if San Francisco wins, they'll face Gonzaga again. And we know what's going to happen in that game. They'll have no chance. They can't match up with Gonzaga. And so that means Santa Clara will have to beat both teams. So that's not good.
It would be amazing. Gonzaga, every year, everybody says, oh, this is one of the best teams. They're going to win the national championship. This year, nobody talked about it.
I like that. I like that theory.
And all of a sudden,
I like it.
I mean, when you look at the KenPom rating, here's a team that nobody talks about.
Yep.
And they're right up there because
50-1.
Because the way they win is by monster numbers.
Yeah.
And it's
well, they got a talented roster. They just don't. They're not very good defensively. They don't rebound well, but they're very well coached and they got offensive firepower.
Well, look, well coached on the offense. The defense have never been their strength.
So that's something to definitely. I'm right there with you, Jim. I'm going to look at the bracket, and if I think Gonzaga's got a favorable bracket, then I think I'm going to put them up there. Okay, so here are the 3 tournaments that are going to be beginning here very shortly before the next time that we're going to be on the air doing this, which will be we're going to be on the air Sunday, so keep that in mind. So you got the America East, the Big Sky, and the Southland. The America East, their top team is Bryant. They're a -150. Vermont, who actually got off to a slow start this year, they've been playing their best ball. They're the 2 seed, and Vermont's like Colgate. They always win. So there you go. You've got both teams, by the way, won 20 games, same record.
I got to ask a question, and I don't know really the answer, but because I didn't dig into it yet. But didn't Vermont suffer an injury in their last game?
Yes, I was going to say that. They're one of I think their leading scorer injured his leg or something like that. Yeah, and he hasn't come back yet. No, and I don't think he's coming back. But I mean, I tried to look for information on whether it's possible for him to come back. I didn't see anything. So you never know about these things. So keep an eye on that.
Then there's always the issue if he comes back, how good is he?
Yeah. He would at least, if he could play the first game, and maybe after a couple of games, he'd be okay.
Or worse.
Let me see. I'm going to pop this up here so you can see the odds. All right. So this is the America East. So yeah, the name of the player is TJ Long, and TJ Long has been out since December. Vermont's won 9 straight. They have split with Bryant. So the 2 first place teams have split. And their head coach, by the way, their 13-year head coach, John Becker, is 308 and 120. It's a hell of a record.
Take a look at UMass Lowell.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. That was my sleeper team.
If Vermont, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
it's hard to take Vermont without their best player.
These are not teams that are generally deep with talent. They'll have players, but the talent goes off the rails pretty quick when you start going down the list. UMass Lowell is really good at 16-1.
Yes,
you gotta put $20, $100.
Absolutely.
You gotta put something on them. They're good. They're real good.
Keep in mind, UMass Lowell last year, they got all the way to the championship game, and they lost at Vermont by 5 points. So they beat Georgia Tech last year, and 4 of their top 5 scorers returned this year. It was surprising that they haven't played better, the record-wise, but it was interesting because 9 of their top 10 players are seniors at UMass Lowell, and their only non-senior is their freshman point guard, averages 14 points a game. Because in the beginning of the year, they were wondering who's going to fill the spot at point. That was the one issue. Well, they just brought a freshman in that's averaging 14 points a game. No issue. So I think that's really cool. Keeping in mind, like you said, they're getting 16-1, and it's a beautiful sleeper play.
Well, it is, especially when you start to think that you can remove Vermont because of the player being hurt. Now you're boosting. Of course, you're looking at Maine, even shorter odds, but I like UMass Lowell at 16.
Yep.
I mean, it's not easy. Bryant is good. They're not easy to beat, but I give UMass a shot.
Yeah, Bryant has a couple of big players. The kid Pinzon's averaging 18 a game. Timberlake is averaging 15, 8, and 4. And Martelli's kid, Phil Martelli Jr. is coaching that team. It's his second year, and he's done a really good job getting them from last year to this year. They lost to UMass Lowell in the semis last year, but they're a better team this year. And UMass Lowell being the 6th seed, not sure how that would work out, but it's another one of those situations, check the way that the brackets are, because who knows, maybe they'll get lucky and they'll avoid having to beat both Vermont and Bryant. But it's 16-1. It's a no-brainer. Okay, I agree with you. We're both on the sleeper. It's the first time we're both on the same sleeper. All right. Next one, Big Sky. Let's take a look at the Big Sky. Northern Colorado is the top team. Montana is also there. Matter of fact, Northern Colorado 23-8, Montana 22-9, and they're both 15-3 in the conference. So it's very equal. Same thing like the America East, very equal at the top. And I believe they split. Let me double check. They split the season. Yeah, they split the season series. Portland's, look at the odds there: 2-1, 4-1, 3-1, 4-1, basically. So it's I'm a little surprised. I thought Portland State's an interesting team, but I was a little surprised to see Portland State that close to Northern Colorado and Montana.
I think I give it a little lean to Montana here, but I'm not excited because the price is just too low. But it's not something I get excited about.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Northern Colorado. It's gonna be one of those deals, again, like you take Lipscomb, they're the favorite. You're not gonna make money on it, but it is what it is, and I agree. I'm just gonna go with Northern Colorado here. They've got their top 7 players, upperclassmen, and they lost to Colorado in overtime. That's pretty good. I know Colorado's not a tournament team, but that's still pretty good. And they do have some really good players there. They've got 3 really top players that do a good job, including a 17-point scorer, a 16-point scorer, really good point guard. So I'm going to take Northern Colorado in that one. No sleepers there, and no sleepers in the Southland because it's all McNeese State. McNeese State has got the biggest odds of any conference tournament.
Oh, my, yes.
And this is the team that they hired Will Wade. He went there last year. They go 30-4.
Oh, my.
And everybody was set to pick McNeese State in their bracket. They just waited to see who was going to face McNeese State so they could pick McNeese State and look like a smarty pants. Well, who did they end up being matched up against? Gonzaga. The team that never loses until the Sweet 16. So that was an awful matchup for McNeese State. Gonzaga had no problem beating them, but McNeese State comes right back again. They're very talented. They lost a few players from last year's team, but he reloaded. Still a very talented team. And they have lost all 6 of their games this year by 8 or less. And that includes Alabama, Mississippi State, and Santa Clara. So even when they were playing teams like Alabama and the Mississippi State from the SEC, they did not get blown out. So
who did they lose to this year?
Besides those 3, let's see who else they lost to. Let's go here. Yeah, you would think that if unless they get a really raw matchup again, that they're going to win the first round game this time. Okay, they also lost to South Dakota State, which is actually my pick to win the Summit. And they lost that one by 7. They lost to Liberty, who's the favorite in the Conference USA. They lost to them by 4. So they played a really tough non-conference schedule. They beat North Texas, who's a good team in the AAC. Their only loss in the conference was to Nicholls State, who is right now the 3rd place team in the conference. Nicholls State, let's see, they're a very deep team. And they had 4 starters returning from last year's team. So that's the one team that beat them. Lamar, who's in 2nd place, they were swept by McNeese State, but they only lost their home game by 2 points against McNeese.
I mean,
yeah, you just this is.
I don't think McNeese is a walkover in this. I mean, I've played Nicholls a few times this year and did pretty well with them.
They've won 8 out of 11. Nicholls.
They're good. I mean, at that price, 12 to 1, it's worth a small bet.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is that the way you look at this is because the rest of the conference is just not good enough. And what do we got here? Yeah, what is it? 8 teams? That's it?
Looks like it.
Okay, maybe only 8 made the playoffs. The other 4 didn't. Okay, so how about this? The theory here then is, all right, Nicholls will play Lamar in the semis. But, okay, I mean, you got to beat somebody. So the way to look at it is, or at least the way I look at it, is when they play each other, they're not going to be 12 to 1. So you're getting basically 12 to 1 in a money line play with McNeese State. That's the way I look at it. Why not take the 12 to 1 now instead of waiting for the championship game?
I'd take a little on Nicholls because you got a decent price, and like you said, it could be a walk into the final, and you're getting a hell of a price. So why not?
All right. So
you're not going to get
a bad sleeper.
You're not going to get 12 to 1 if it's in the final.
No.
So
yeah, you probably get like 4 to 1, maybe something like that.
Maybe.
If that. Yeah. So our 2 sleep teams would be UMass, Lowell, and Nicholls. And there you go. So that's what's taking place for now. Again, we're going to be back don't forget to subscribe, as I mentioned, because Jim is going to have some shorts tomorrow, and he's going to update everybody. He's going to give his Ohio Valley Championship prediction. He's going to go over that game tomorrow. And also we'll go over the Big South Championship game later in the day. So 2 shorts, or, depending on exactly how much information Jim has on these games. Bottom line is there'll be a video available in the library here on the channel for both of those games. Sunday morning, Eastern time, Jim and I, well, actually it'll be real early morning for Jim, but we are going to talk about the Missouri Valley Championship game, the Summit, and the Southland. So we've got Saturday and Sunday. Matter of fact, every day, we said this at the beginning of the week, starting on Friday, we were going to have coverage from Friday to Selection Sunday. And to tell you the truth, I doubt that we'll be off on the Monday, Tuesday, and so forth. We might not start talking college basketball now on a day off for probably, I don't know, maybe till the championship week, maybe.
We talk about, sleepless nights.
Yeah, it's coming. But I mean, these are actually harder. But the good thing is that the information we're getting is going to be useful, because when the brackets come out, we don't have to do the research anymore on those other teams from those other smaller conferences, because we've already done it. So,
and keep in mind, I can't speak for anybody else, but when I give out plays, I bet real money on them.
Yes.
That means,
well, you just said it with Fort Wayne.
I lost 12,000 the other night on Fort Wayne, for Christ's sake. And then I learned about this craziness with these senior nights, and I stopped doing that. So in any case, they're real plays. I'm not one of those people who just pick games and give them out.
Yeah. So when Jim loses,
I started the games. I started the business six decades ago, and my first ad was, "Does a sports handicapper follow his own advice?" And my mantra then, and it is to this day, if I give you a play, I have got my money on it as well.
And believe it or not, because I didn't, when you told me, there are actually handicappers out there that give picks and they don't play them themselves.
Well, that's because anyway, I'm not going to knock anyone for whatever they do, because I don't know their lifestyles and stuff, but I've always said that if I don't have enough confidence, if you're a stock investor and you're telling me to play a stock, I have to ask you, do you own some of that stock?
Absolutely.
And unless there's some corporate reason that they can't, I have to say, if you're not putting your own money in it, why are you telling me to put money in it? So I've always done that. Now sometimes I've been unhappy doing it, because you go on losing streaks, but that's the nature of the beast. The reality of this business is, as a bettor, as a handicapper, when you're talking about volume, I'm talking about volume. If you can go 56, 57, 58%, 59%, you're making a lot of money. I know that's not what they advertise. Now, if you're only playing, say, in a football season, 40 games, which is like nothing, because there's 20 weeks and you're playing two. Yeah, you want to hit a bigger number, and you might hit 65. You could even get 68, 69, because you're so selective. I was almost 70 in my totals this year. I mean, I wasn't as good in the sides. It was more like 56, but still, they're both good numbers. But the bottom line is, this is a tough way to make an easy living. Let's just put it that way.
Well, there's more of that coming along tomorrow, Sunday, and all through the next 2 weeks for a very, very awesome college basketball time of season, March Madness. Don't forget, we're going to have our championship preview special. That's going to be out. I don't know if we decided, I think we're doing that on a regular Wednesday. Next week, by the way, we have moved up our show to Tuesday. So we're doing Tuesday of this upcoming week. That'll give us a chance to get a jump start on some of the other tournaments on that specific show.
Oh, I'm so glad, because that gives that Wednesday thing.
You don't have to worry about it. Yes.
I didn't know about that. That's good.
Well, I sent out an email, but
Well,
yeah. As of right now, we still have that Wednesday set for the following week. The first 4 will be underway. If we can't switch that to Tuesday, we'll talk about that next week. But we'll also be here live on Selection Sunday. It'll be right after the brackets are announced, about an hour after, so it gives us an opportunity to prep. We are going to be on live, so hopefully, of course, Jim will be here, Andy, Tony, Mark will be already in his laboratory getting the newsletter out, so he will be unavailable, but the rest of us will, hopefully, and we'll get a jump start. We're going to have our show, of course, the preview show, and all our picks will be a couple of days later, but that gives us an opportunity, just first impressions on the bracket and things of that nature, and that'll be cool. And doing a live show also gets an opportunity to interact with you guys. So we're looking forward to that. So, Jim, appreciate your time as always.
Peace, brother.
And I'll probably talk to you on Sunday morning. And looking out for your.
Remember, send me an email with the so I don't forget.
Yes. I'll send you the emails that you never read so you don't forget.
Okay.
Thanks, Jim.
You're trying to trick me. I know you are.
Yeah.
See ya. Bye.